Two bills aimed at safeguarding abortion access passed the House of Representatives today. One of those bills would codify the right to an abortion as outlined in Roe versus Wade. Not one single Republican voted for it. The other bill would prohibit states from restricting people from traveling to another state to obtain an abortion. And that bill received 3 Republican votes. Now, Republicans have already blocked a related bill in the Senate, and barring a miracle, that's as far as either of these 2 bills will go. But Democrats are getting Republicans on the record when it comes to the issue of abortion. They are, in fact, holding congressional hearings. They are legislating. They are applying pressure. They're trying to get something done to protect a woman's right. Joining us now is Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher, the Democrat from Texas who sponsored the House-approved bill protecting the right to cross state lines to get an abortion. Congresswoman Fletcher, thank you so much for being with us here tonight. The right of a U.S. citizen to travel across state lines is not explicitly mentioned in the Constitution, to use a line out of the Republican playbook, but the Supreme Court has recognized it several times dating back to the 1800s. But you look at a state like Texas, the lawmakers there and anti-abortion advocates, they are looking into penalties for crossing state lines for abortions. Were you surprised to see that rolling back Roe would result in some states seeking to strip some women and pregnant people from their right to travel freely in this country?
Well, thanks so much for having me on tonight, Eamon. And I'm not shocked based on what we've seen in Texas over the last several decades, but I am outraged. And I think everyone should be outraged at what we've seen. You know, for decades, we've heard Republicans say that this is an issue for the states to decide. And as you mentioned, immediately they're calling for a federal ban on abortion. And the other thing that's happened is that while Roe v. Wade has been the law of the land, states like mine have passed incredibly restrictive abortion bills, and many have these trigger laws. So now overnight, abortion is outlawed, and I think it's up to 11 states now, and they expect that number to grow. So while what we've seen, I think, has confirmed that turning this back to the states is not the end game for Republican lawmakers. And it's really important for the House to stand up and defend our right to access to abortion care in all 50 states, which is what the vast majority of Americans support, a framework that takes into account the incredibly complex nature and personal nature of these decisions, these reproductive health care decisions. And it's also important that we protect this right to travel. And as you said, this is a right that goes back to the Articles of Confederation. This is something the Supreme Court has recognized, and it's really important that Congress affirm the right to travel between the states and make sure that people cannot be interfered with, either the people leaving the state to seek care or the people who are helping them, which is what's happening here in Texas, and it's outrageous.
Congresswoman, even if your bill and the Women's Health Protection Act, which aims to codify abortion rights, ultimately do not pass in the Senate, is there any reason to get Republicans in Congress on the record with their votes in opposition?
Well, I think it's absolutely important for people to know where their representatives stand on this and on other issues. And as I said, I think, one of the challenges here is I've been involved in this work for a long time, and I heard from so many people, the Supreme Court will never overturn Roe v. Wade. We look to the courts to protect our fundamental freedoms, our liberty, our autonomy, our dignity, our health. And now what we're seeing is all of these efforts have been happening in the states when people weren't paying as much attention because they thought this right would never go away. Well, now they see they have, and it's important for them to know who is defending their fundamental freedoms, who's defending their rights, who is approaching this with the seriousness and complexity that it deserves, and who is out there trying to prevent them from exercising their fundamental freedoms. And this isn't just about abortion care. This goes far into our most personal decisions, including contraception. We've heard from Republicans in Congress this week and in recent weeks in the appropriations debates and other work that's happening. They want to roll back the right to contraception too. And Justice Thomas's dissent makes clear that's not it. It is absolutely essential that Americans know what is happening, what people are proposing, and that they know that going into the elections in November, and that they're able to vote for people who will protect them and their freedoms, and that they know exactly where their representatives stand.
Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher, thank you so much for your time tonight. I greatly appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Eamon.